Hello, this is Mr. Reinert, and we are reviewing the cultural side of our unit on Europe. So, the first one, you're going to have a reading question on the test, and it talks about um, what is the full face Islamic veil. So, I wanted to show you what that was. We haven't really talked about that much. We did talk about Islam. So, if you don't remember what that is, please go back to the videos. I think it was on like a Friday, and then we did it again on a Monday towards the beginning of the unit. So, please check that out. Please review that if you don't remember much about Islam. But this is a like a face covering. This will be a full face version. You can even see here that they don't even have the eye holes, and then they also cover their hands. So they actually, first of all, the main kind of thing that's going on right now has been going on for like the last several years. Is there's so much war in the Middle East, which I can show you on the map. There's so much kind of different problems in well, lots of countries around the world, but there was a war going on around here, and so these people didn't like the war. Obviously, they didn't want to die. They didn't want to have their houses and their businesses and everything destroyed. So they started to come over into Europe, and there's a rule. It's it's called a refugee. Okay, where if you are a refugee, meaning that you're escaping some sort of persecution, where somebody, maybe a government, is not letting you follow the religion that you want, or there's a lot of war going on or something, where you're allowed to go to a safe country for a certain amount of time until that war or the persecution is over. Then you're supposed to go back to your original home country. So lots and lots and lots of people started coming into Europe and also America, Canada, Australia, lots of other countries around the world. So when they came here, especially in this example, we're talking about France, there was this clash of cultures. So a clash is like a crash where two things come together, where we have the French culture and we have the Syrian or Lebanese or other Middle Eastern countries or wherever they're from culture, which is closely connected to Islam, whereas the French one is more closely connected to Christianity. Very different, as we learned in class, but it's still happening today. So these two cultures are coming together and they don't mix well. So in France, they actually made a law that it was illegal to wear these kind of full face coverings. Okay, so you're not allowed to cover your entire face, probably not even allowed to do this. In France, you could get a fine. But in Islam, it is something that they are strongly, women are strongly encouraged. In some countries, they're even required by law. Even if you're not Islamic, if you go to those countries like Saudi Arabia and Iran, and you're a woman, you have to wear some sort of a covering over your head, face, right? But they made it illegal to wear it at all. Even if you want to, it's illegal to wear it in public in France. So um, that would be an example of when two different groups, two different cultures are not working well together for one reason or another, because both sides are upset about this. And that's an example of tension between groups. Next thing we're going to talk about, more, again, it's kind of more modern stuff, modern cultural things. Um, one term that is connected to all of this is multiculturalism, which would be the need for immigrant populations to learn native languages. They sometimes don't trust each other, different cultures, because oh, that person's different, so I don't know if I can trust them. Maybe they don't understand the other culture. And also, like we talked about, how a lot of people have to move from one country to another, that because of war or for religious reasons, and that's called displacement. Okay, displace. They're not allowed, or they can't, even if they want to, they can't live in their country. They want their country to be safe and peaceful and um, wealthy, but they can't. Okay, it's not the case right now. So they have to run away from that in order to stay safe. And that's called a refugee. Okay. Oh, and the next one we're going to talk about here. There you go. There it is. Is well, we talked about World War One and we talked about World War Two. Both of those primarily, well, not primarily. I guess World War One pretty much primarily happened inside of Europe, but World War II was unique because it really did kind of happen all around the world, in the Pacific Ocean, in Asia, in Europe, mostly. Okay. But specifically talking about Europe, we take a look here. Got some pictures of World War II destruction. So, can you imagine living in one of these cities where it's just all destroyed, everything's burned down, no more business, no more buildings? I mean, look at this guy. Look at this house. I mean, they're playing some kind of game outside, but the house is completely destroyed. They're eating dinner in the house because the walls were destroyed. At least they can still, I guess, have a dining room table. It's shocking. And America has been lucky for the most part. We haven't really had to deal with a lot of this. At least we didn't really have to deal with it in the 1900s and the 20th century. We haven't had to deal with it here in the 21st century. So, can you imagine if your city, if Killeen, looked like this? What would you do? Your school destroyed, a tank rolled over the bricks of Roy J. Smith Middle School. Even if you want to go to school, you can't because some tank or airplane or whatever dropped a bomb and destroyed it. Okay. And so that was a huge deal. And all of the countries of Europe after the war, they figured out that they had to work together. That if they didn't work together and clean all this up, that they would never be successful countries again. And they did work together and they did clean it up. And one of the things that they decided to do to work together was create what's called the European Union, which it's kind of small, but that's what the flag looks like. And there's a bunch of countries that joined together to form one country, and it's all the ones that are colored. So like this one here and these, okay, though they are not part of the European Union. Okay, just the ones like in here that have the various colors. I'm colorblind, so I don't know what this color is, but anyway, United Kingdom, Norway, Iceland, Switzerland, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, Kosovo, North Macedonia, Albania, and then Russia and all these other countries out here. They're not in the European Union. Some of them are trying to join. They want to become part of the European Union, but they haven't yet. United Kingdom recently left the European Union because they have a very strong economy and they liked to make their own decisions about the economy on their own. But the rest of the countries prefer working together, the ones that are in the European Union. And most of them have the same money. They have different languages, they have different cultures, but they can move around and live anywhere that they want inside of the European Union, just like we can move inside of the United States and live in any state that we want to. And we share the same money. So it's really similar. In fact, they based the European Union on the United States. It's kind of the same kind of philosophy. So make sure you remember that European Union is very important for your life and for the test. And we will see you next time. Pass it on to the next video. Bye-bye.